Sully here, the retired tanker yanker. Welcome to Transitions. How bored am I during lockdown? Well, as I've stated in the past, this is really not a big hitch in my giddy up. But, you know, in the past, if I had nothing better to do, there was always places I could go that I can't go now. And to tell you the truth, finding entertainment, well, sometimes it hasn't been too hard because I can always find something on YouTube and or on Netflix or on the various on-demand cable channels that I have. But yesterday, April 25th, my apartment building was without power from about 8:15 a.m. until about 1:30 p.m. And there was a good reason for that. The local electrical utility, PECO, stands for Philadelphia Electric Company. Well, they had to replace a telly pole outside of my building. Excuse my Philadelphianese there. Telly pole is what we locals here in Philadelphia call a telephone pole. I'm surprised I didn't include that in my video explaining the Philadelphia accent. But anyway, there's some pretty big utility poles or telly poles outside of my building, and one of them was replaced yesterday. It was the one where the main electrical feed to the building comes in from. So naturally they wanted to get that done first to get it out of the way, and I assume they're going to replace the remaining poles as time allows. And with unable to watch TV or listen to the radio or do anything like that, I decided to make a day of it. I took my camera outside and I shot video of the PECO crew replacing the telly pole. Now, I didn't get them actually putting the new pole in the ground because at some point I had to go in and go to the bathroom. We still have plumbing in here and it still worked fine. But it was kind of interesting going down the hallways in my building because they were dark and I had to, fortunately I had my phone with me and I was able to use the flashlight from the phone to light my way. But anyway, what you're about to see is an exercise in boredom, you might say. But I do want to commend the crews. The notice that we got in the building said electricity will be off from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. They started around 8:15 actually, and they got done about 1:30. I didn't stick around for the finish either. When they looked like they were getting ready to hook everything up, I decided to go back in, and I just went into my bedroom and laid down, took a little nap until the lights came on. So here's my little video vignette of a PECO crew replacing a telly pole on Bustleton Avenue. Now, in all fairness to the management, they did post a notice, but since I'm not going out a lot, I didn't see the notice until very early on Saturday morning. I guess I was going to the Wawa to get a cup of coffee, and I really had a Jones for one of their breakfast biscuits. So that's when I saw the notice that said power was going to be turned off from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Actually, the power went out at about 8:15. I was sitting in my recliner and I was saying, how am I going to get this thing up? Then I remembered I had a battery backup in case you lose power. But that thing drained before I was able to get the recliner totally in a regular sitting position. I was able to get the footrest down, but not get the backup. So I figured I could either sit in this uncomfortable position for 5 hours, or I can go outside with my video camera and shoot the crew as they're doing their work. Sounds like they're warming up a chainsaw on this one, but what they're doing is they're actually taking the wires off of the insulators and they put it on a special cross piece that they were able to lift the wires up and move them out of the way of the pole so they could work safely. As you see, they put rubber insulators on the wires too. I guess this is not only to protect themselves, but they'll also protect the wires in the event that the pole swings into them. Now here they are digging out at the bottom, and now they're removing the cross brace for the wires. I envision them lifting this entire pole out of the ground in one piece, but their plan was to cut it into 3 sections and lift it out, which, in retrospect, makes a lot of sense. They had 3 of these high lift baskets out there, and they had a 4th one in reserve. As you can see, one is in the parking lot of the office building. Actually, it's in the driveway of the between the apartments and the office building, or I guess it's a professional building there. And they got the cones out there because they had the right lane of Bustleton Avenue closed down. And I was noticing that there were still idiots that could see the sign that said right lane closed, and they were still in the right lane even as they went through Tustin Avenue. And they're acting like, well, what's going on? Maybe this will just disappear into thin air or something. But now, as you can see, they have the wires moved safely out of the way. And they're getting ready to do some mean, nasty, ugly things to the pole. I thought this was pretty neat. They're shaking the pole, probably to try to loosen it around the bottom, so that they could get it out easier when that time came. And that's the truck with the auger on it. That's going to remove the sections of pole as they cut them, and then auger out the hole for the new pole. I wasn't there for that part because I had to go in and use the bathroom. And then I popped a cold beer and sat down and finished it. As you'll see later on in the video, I didn't go out again until the new pole had already put in place. But they're bringing this truck up now, and they're going to use that boom to lift away the sections of pole as they cut them. Putting the cones out. There's a shopping center across the street from me. It's called the Bell's Corner Shopping Center. And the main entrance is right off of Bustleton Avenue, but people still insist on turning right on Bergen Street and turning left into the side entrance. And if it's blocked because there's traffic waiting for the light to change, they'll sit there and hold up traffic. I mean, you can't figure out that all you have to do is drive another 150 feet and turn in there, and you're getting in and you're not holding up traffic and you're not waiting. But you know, some people, they just don't think beyond the front of their car. And they think this is the fastest way in because it's the closest. And they wind up not only delaying themselves, they delay other people because they just don't think. So here they are raising this boom up into place. And they got a cable on there with a hook, and they're going to fix a sling. And they're going to cut away the top third of the pole. I really admire these guys who work in those baskets and who work at elevations like that, because I have a fear of heights. And quite frankly, while I was driving, working tankers, and I had to work on top of a tanker, I always had the fear of falling down if I didn't have any fall-safe equipment where I was. And, you know, we had to walk out on this little catwalk. It was about 18 inches wide to check the washout caps. And every time I did that, I just had a fear of falling. Now they're fixing a sling onto the pole, and then they're going to hook that cable up to the sling. And that's how they're going to remove the section of pole that they cut away. And that fella in that basket there, he's got a chainsaw in that basket. He's going to cut away the top third of this pole. Unfortunately, I didn't get any video of him cutting this pole. I did get some video of him later, you'll see, where he's cutting away the middle third of the pole. Those wires are actually well away from the pole right there, so they have no danger on this side of hitting the wires. But there he is fixing up the sling to the hook on the cable and making sure it pulls tight. Now he's going down and he's going to cut the top third of the pole with a chainsaw. And unfortunately I didn't get any video of him doing that. you see he's cut away the pole, he's pushing it out, trying to get it clear, and they're trying to lift it up here. There's the fellow at the controls. I assume that works from a hydraulic drive system, which is connected to a PTO. And now the top section of the pole is clear. They're going to swing it away and deposit it onto the back of the boom truck there that has the that lift section on it and that auger on it. This is still pretty dangerous work, and I hope nobody is standing underneath that. I also did notice that several of the workers were in fact wearing masks. I guess they got to just take care of themselves. So now that top third of the pole is being swung around, and they're going to deposit it. Now he looks like he's getting ready to work on removing the cable TV and telephone lines. As you can see, the lines are cut. He's fixing the sling up to the middle third section now. And then he's going to knock out the junction box where the cable TV and the telephone wires are coming. Looks like he was driving a some kind of a spike or some kind of a steel bar through there to knock it out. There he's getting in the steel bar. Those utility lines, I guess that's cable TV and telephone, and they have a steel cable that's fixed to the pole, and that's what those utility lines are suspended on the poles with. By this point, it was not a very chilly day. There was absolutely no wind, and it was warm. I was sitting in the sunshine. I actually peeled my jacket off at this point. I guess the temperature was in the mid-60s, which would probably be around the mid-20s if you're a metric person. And there, that cable came off, and lines. There he is cutting the pole to remove the middle third of it. That must be really hairy using a chainsaw in a basket like that, even though he's only about maybe 15 feet off the ground at this point. I figured something like this was up when I saw a pole laying in front of the building. I figured, oh, they're going to replace some of these poles out here. I wasn't sure which one, but this is the one where the main utilities come into the building. I figured that they decided to do this one first. They're probably going to replace at least 2 or 3 more poles. As you can see, the pole in the foreground is listing very much towards the street. Now he backs the basket away. They're getting ready to lift out.
Oh! Yeah, this is pretty interesting so far, isn't it?
Now, this is after I went in and came back out again. And as you can see, the new pole is already in place. And they're fixing the top cross piece there, and they're putting the electrical lines back onto that. They have the insulators already mounted on it. have those protective insulation sleeves on there. And protect themselves from shock. Although I understand as long as they're not grounded, they can grab those lines safely. Swinging the basket away now. There's one other fellow up there. Making sure that piece is fixed. They're getting ready to put a second piece in there, and I don't know if that means they're eventually going to put more electrical lines up there or what. Or if this was maybe, I really don't know what they were doing there, and I'm not going to sound like I know what they were doing, so let's just keep watching, shall we? They've already taken those insulation sleeves off the wires, and the fella is dropping them from the basket to the fella on the ground that's going to collect them. Now they're taking up that second cross piece. They're going to fix it maybe about 4 feet below the one that's up there on the top of the pole. You have to appreciate how dangerous this work is and how thoroughly professional this crew was, taking all necessary safety precautions. As you can see, they still have some insulation sleeves up there to protect themselves in the area where they're working. I suppose that's in case they're accidentally contact the power lines and they're grounded. That's to make sure they don't get a shock. Here's that second cross piece that they're getting ready to put in. You see there is some kind of wires coming from the insulators, and I noticed later on they connected those wires to the insulators at the top of the pole. That's what they're doing right here, as a matter of fact. Those actually look like surge suppressors, not insulators. So I guess if a hot load comes through the line, it'll drive them down into there. It'll give them extra protection against surge. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what they are, surge suppressors. And looks like they're getting ready to get back to some of the underground utilities that were attached to this pole. That's what they're doing here, feeding the lines down and up the underground utilities that are going to go up to, I assume that's cable TV, because that comes underground, goes up to the pole to be distributed to the building.
So you managed to watch it all the way through, did you? Good for you. Actually, if it isn't for me using the voiceover, this would actually make a pretty good ASMR video, wouldn't it? But, you know me, I can't keep my big mouth shut. Anyway, I just want to commend the PECO crew for getting this job done. You know, they replaced the pole. They spent about 5 hours doing it, and I think they did a pretty good job. And it, once again, really didn't put a big hitch in my lifestyle. Yeah, it was no fun. I was kind of worried because I had lots of cold beer in my fridge, and I was wondering about, should I drink it up before it gets warm? But fortunately, no, nothing spoiled in the fridge. I kept it closed, and everything was fine. So, what are you doing when you're totally bored? Drop a comment below and let me know how you're keeping life interesting during this period of lockdown. For Transitions, I'm Sully, the retired tanker yanker. Safe and happy travels.